Most people think that they're inconsistent when it comes to content, that they're not disciplined enough, that they're bad at showing up. But what's actually happening is that the nervous system does not have the capacity to be visible, judged, exposed, and evaluated every single day. So this is why I'm saying that most content problems aren't strategy problems, they are nervous system problems. Because when your nervous system feels threatened, it chooses protection over consistency and showing up. So here's what you need to know about your brain. Your brain is wonderful. It creates new solutions. It can be really, really creative. However, sometimes it can be a bit of a dick and work against your favor. Your nervous system is here to scan for threats. And now your nervous system does not know the difference between posting a spicy hot take reel and a lion. So in that, our primal brain is a little bit behind on the evolution and what's happening in our society right now. And when your brain and body feels threatened, your nervous system switches on to protect you. And this can look like laziness, procrastination, or being on this chaotic overdrive. And this is the stuff that no traditional social media course addresses, no content planner addresses. This is highly, highly individual, and I'm going to teach you all the basics that you need to know about your nervous system so that you can become consistent as fuck with content and visible with your business online. And now, just a side note, I am not a doctor. This is not medical advice. This is just neuroscience informed coaching so that you can put your expertise, your insights, your story out there. My job is simply to make the gap between your real life self and your online self a lot smaller, because I know that you're a baddie in real life and we want to see that online as well. Okay, so let's get to it. I'm going to cover the 3 main nervous system responses and how they show up in content creation and how they are blocking you from being consistent with social media and putting your authentic self out there. Because you and I both know that you have some hot takes about the industry, about the society, about what's going on in the world, right? But your nervous system, your body is feeling a little bit fried when it comes to putting yourself out there. So we're going to fix that today. And as always, I'm not just going to give you a bunch of concepts that's going to leave you with a notebook full of fancy ideas. I'm also going to give a nervous system safe content routine for each of these states. And now here's the thing. I want you to listen to this whole thing because you might be experiencing all of the 3 or maybe just 2 of them in varying proportions. Or you might just have one main nervous system response when it comes to content creation. So that's why I want you to hear all of them and kind of recognize yourself where you're at and how your body is holding you back from visibility, because visibility, it's threatening for our bodies. Like, our bodies were not made for this kind of visibility and era of living where we're so exposed and we see other people's lives through our phone every single day. Like, that's a lot for our bodies. However, we can train our nervous systems to have a capacity that can hold that. Now, the 3 nervous system states are functional freeze, fight or flight, and fawn. So let's get into functional freeze. This is when your nervous system is really overwhelmed and it just shuts down. How this can look like in real life is you're like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and make some content right now, but literally your mind goes blank. Even though you have a lot of ideas and you're really creative, your mind just goes blank when you stare at the computer and you cannot make yourself write the content. Like, that's why it is called the freeze response. What it can also look like, this endless consumption, so scrolling for inspo. It can also be saving a lot of posts but never creating anything your own. It can look like this hyper planning but never ending up recording or typing out a post and hitting post. You might also get a lot of brain fog when you think about content. It just feels so overwhelming and so confusing. And then you end up avoiding the whole process of content creation, and then you just go and read a book or binge some Netflix and mask that as rest, when in reality your body and your nervous system is just really shutting down, so you're not actually resting. And the identity level story that can perpetuate this is that I'm inconsistent, I'm not disciplined enough, I'm just not motivated enough, or that I must be lazy, or I always end up procrastinating. And these stories will perpetuate the overwhelm that your body is already feeling. And what's happening in the brain and in the body is that this metabolic and cognitive downshift is literally causing you to not have enough energy to actually complete the task or to write that post, even if it is just a really, really simple thing. And from a body perspective, this is protection. It's not laziness. Like, I know that you're someone who wants to create big things in the world. You have a lot of ideas and you want to put yourself out there. But when it comes to time to do that, you just freeze and you blank out and you just end up staring at the screen. Like, that is the difference. And after working with over 300 clients with their social media and with their business, this is a really, really common one. You know exactly what to do, but when it comes the time to do it, you just literally freeze. So I'm going to give you a practice that you can do, and the goal for this practice is finding safety through micro completion, and also creating steps that are predictable and helps you regulate within the content creation process. Now, your content creation routine will be about chunking. It will be about realistically writing down tasks that you think you might be able to achieve, like micro tasks, because your brain and your body is already in overwhelm. So as much as we can, we want to avoid the mental and cognitive load that might come from a task like create a whole reel. Like, there's multiple different parts that goes to creating a reel. There is maybe the scripting or the outlining, there is the filming, there is the editing, and then there is the caption, and then there's the posting, right? So if you find yourself in a freeze response, which I did for sure, you need to learn to create micro to-dos, micro tasks for yourself. So for example, maybe it could be writing down 3 bullet points for a reel that you want to record. Maybe it could be recording a 30-second B-roll. Maybe it is writing down 1 hook or 10 hook ideas. Maybe it could be outlining 1 carousel post. And here's the thing, I want you to stop the content creation process before the overwhelm kicks in, okay? So you got yourself going, you wrote down 5 different hooks, and now you're already like going into the overwhelm, and the freeze is starting to kick in. I want you to stop, take 3 deep breaths, go do some grounding, go do some breath work, and that's going to be it. And then you're going to continue when you feel resourced again. We don't want to perpetuate the state of feeling really overwhelmed. I'm personally a huge fan of the Pomodoro method. And if you don't know what the Pomodoro method is, that you need to specifically define the tasks that you need to get done in one sitting, whether that's an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. And then you have 25 minutes of work time and you have a 5-minute break. And in that work time, you're on do not disturb. Better if you're in airplane mode, but you're literally nowhere to be found, okay? No distractions in the room. And for 25 minutes, you focus on one task. Like, this is literally how I got my bachelor's and master's thesis written, because I was able to chunk down the things that I needed to learn into these bite-sized sections and tasks. This is not about productivity. This is about learning regulation. And if you find yourself in the freeze response, you're gonna have to learn to regulate how much you expect from yourself and how much energy you put in one sitting. So highly recommend the Pomodoro method. There's a lot of timers online, with music, without music. You can also download an app if you want. But I have found it really helpful for myself when I find myself overwhelmed. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta get all of these things done. Like, no, we're gonna prioritize. We're gonna make these like micro tasks, like right down to hook, outline the script, film the content, and then edit, and maybe do those in different days. And maybe also consider doing those different parts of the content creation process during different days. This is a whole other topic, but I actually find myself in like scripting mode in one day, and then I have another day for filming when I get ready, and like this is my filming day. And then another day I'm in editing mode, right? Like I'm in my sweats, I have a coffee, and like we're just locking in and getting it done, and I don't have to think about being on camera. This could be a whole other video in itself. If you guys want like my content creation system that helps me get shit done, I have 2 kids, I have a business, I also have another job. Like I have a lot going on, and content creation doesn't usually take more than 6 hours of my. So let me know if you want that video, because I would love to make it. I feel like I'm the queen of systems because I have to be. And also I just want to point out, since a lot of these things have to do with your brain and your body, I want to emphasize the importance of learning some body-based practices for yourself. So particularly for functional freeze, cold water can help you kind of snap out of that state. So whether you just splash some cold water on your face or on your wrist, that can really help you kind of shift out of that freeze state. Another one is slowing down your breathing, especially the exhale. So what I like to do is for example, a 3 or 4 count inhale, and then the exhale is going to be double of the count. Okay. And another great one is also grounding through sensation. So maybe like give yourself a squeeze, like remind yourself that you're here, or feeling your feet on the ground. Those are really great ways of like bringing yourself back into this moment if you find yourself like completely dissociated. So if you find yourself in functional freeze, I want you to practice micro completion, small completion, and that will help create safety. And that safety will help you increase your capacity for creation and visibility. All right, next up we have fight or flight. And fight or flight is like this overdrive. It's really urgent, it's really chaotic, and how it shows up in content creation is that maybe you like start changing up your fonts, or like, oh, maybe I should try this strategy. You start like downloading all these hook templates. Like it feels really urgent. It does not feel slow. It does not feel sustainable. It does not feel peaceful whatsoever. You might be like overworking yourself, or what I used to do is just crowd my to-do list. My to-do list was like not okay. It was something unattainable. So like overworking and putting a lot of pressure on yourself. And if you are in fight or flight, you notice that your content is created from this state of pressure. It's like, I have to post or I'll fall behind. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of urgency. You're going to be probably overthinking. You're going to be nitpicking. You're probably also going to be tying your self-worth to the performance of your post, or whether you post or not. You're going to probably feel really shitty about yourself if you didn't get that post out, or you're going to tie your sense of satisfaction and your self-worth to metrics like likes and views and comments and so on and so forth. So you're chasing that dopamine hit of validation from content. And the stories that you're going to be playing on the identity level, they're going to be, I just need better systems. I just need to try another strategy. I'm inconsistent. I'm bad at discipline. I'm bad at follow through. Or what I see a lot, maybe undiagnosed baddies having, is that I work the best under pressure. That's not actually a sustainable strategy. It's probably that your nervous system just got into fight or flight, and that's the only way you can get things done. But let me just tell you, this is not going to be your best work, because when our brain is in fight or flight, your prefrontal cortex, so where you do all your planning and where you get your creative ideas, that part of your brain is not functioning at its best capacity. So you could actually be creating a lot better content with urgency or less stress, if that makes sense. So you get this really urgent, reactive, even like manic energy, and you start to chase types of posts that will give you the dopamine hit that you're looking for. So any kind of like creative or complex decision making becomes nearly impossible because your brain and your body is just trying to solve for the threat that's right in front of you, which is, getting that post. And like, why am I not getting it done? Like, I have to get something out there, and tying your sense of worthiness into that. So the content practice that I have for you is low stimulation content creation, and the goal with this one is regulation through slowing down and finding a rhythm. So in other words, we want to make content creation boring for you, okay? And again, the Pomodoro method is a great one for this, because what we want to do is create fixed posting windows, okay, and cap your creation time so that you don't get into this frantic energy of like, what if I tweak this, or what if I change my hook this, and into the nitpicking and the overanalyzing and the perfectionism of it. We also want to kind of choose the boring, predictable consistency over really intense dopamine highs, chasing those really intense dopamine highs. We want to have repeat formats. And you also want to have some sort of templates for yourself, whether that's carousel, whether that's a super easy, like, picture and text on it, or like your own, rant style reel format. So what this containment and these rhythms and these templates do is that they reduce the mental load and the decision fatigue that you need to be making, because your body is focused on resolving this threat in front of you. So your decisions are not going to be as clear. You cannot make as complex plans and decisions as you normally would, which in order means that your content is probably not going to be as juicy and as creative as it could be. So here's the paradox: the more you slow down, the more you will actually speed up, because your content will be a little bit more delicious, a little bit more creative, and you'll be able to make those complex decisions and plan for yourself and get a lot more bang for your buck for your content creation time. Finally, let's talk about the fawn response. Now, this isn't talked about a lot. However, I see this especially in women, really sensitive individuals that have a lot of opinions and have a lot of expertise and experience, but struggle putting it out there because they fear triggering other people or being too much or having too spicy opinion. The fawn response is all about seeking for approval and people pleasing. And how this can show up in the content creation process is that you start watering down your opinions, you start over explaining, you feel like you always need to over deliver, you're really afraid of triggering other people or polarizing, you make your content really neutral and vanilla because you don't want to trigger anyone. Maybe you start to chase trends or morph into what other people are doing online right now, and really losing your own sense of individuality and authenticity. And the thoughts and the identity level beliefs that really perpetuate the fawn state are: I don't know my niche, I don't know my voice, I don't want to stand out, it's not safe for me to stand out, I don't want to trigger anyone, I don't want to give advice that hurts someone, or that I'm not confident enough. Also, I hear this story, like, I've done a lot of chart readings and consulted a lot of business owners with social media, and I hear this story of like, I'm shy, which I essentially think is fawn response, this hypervigilance towards scanning for social approval and what other people think of you. And now here's what's actually happening. Your nervous system thinks that safety equals approval. In fact, you only can sense your sense of safety from within. So that's what we're going to do with this content practice that I'm going to give to you. When you're in a fawn state, your nervous system shifts towards monitoring what other people are thinking, replaying of like, what will that person think, what will my ex-colleague think, what will these friends think, and so on and so forth. And you might also feel that rejection is like physically dangerous. Like, you might feel physically threatened if someone leaves a nasty comment, or like if you post a bold opinion or a hot take and you're like, what is that person gonna think? And then you get this sense of like rejection feeling physically threatening and dangerous. So don't worry, I'm not gonna tell you to like post your spiciest opinions, even though I know you have those, because I have these conversations with people all the time behind closed doors in Zoom rooms over coffee and so on and so forth. So I know you have those spicy opinions and hot takes based on all of that awesome experience that you have in your career, because you're an industry baddie with probably at least 10 certifications in your backpack, and you have the experience, you have the skills, and you have the knowledge, and you have the opinions, but your nervous system might not be ready for you to be putting those hot takes out there quite yet. So your content routine is going to be about creating safety in self-expression and identity anchoring. And what that means is that start your content creation process by anchoring into your stories and your experiences. Let me give you an example. Instead of saying like, this practice is bullshit, or da 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 da, I would rather anchor my content creation into, I created 100 pieces of content and here is what happened. Like your actual factual stories and experience. Or for example, here's exactly how I made my first 5 sales online. Like that's something that actually happened, no one can argue with. And then bit by bit, you can start amping up the spice level. You can start dialing up the spice level in your posts, okay? And rather than thinking about like, I have this vast audience that I'm talking to, talk to one person, talk to one person's heart, someone who you know that would benefit this message that you want to share and that you have on your heart. Try not to check for trends. Try not to consume and scroll for inspo before you create your own content, because it's easy for you to assume this like chameleon energy and start morphing into those trends and what other people are doing right now. And try to keep it to one experience or one story or one little anecdote or fact per post, so you keep it really light on your nervous system. And same body-based practices apply for the fawn response as for the other ones. Try humming, try grounding, like really feeling that you're here, maybe like a shavasana or some breathing practices before you actually start creating, to bring yourself back to the body. This practice, for if you find yourself in the fawn response, your main job is to start shifting from where you get your sense of safety, because right now you're seeking your sense of safety from other people's opinions, from the external, from the audience, from people that you know, from your clients, and so on and so forth. Like it can show up in really, really sneaky ways, putting all those extra modules in your programs, or like giving discounts, or like giving a ton of stuff for free. So your job is to source your sense of safety from yourself, instead of from the external, from other people's opinions, from other people's approval. Your main job is to understand that your sense of safety only comes from within, from your self-trust. All right, so here's what I want you to know. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. These are completely normal responses. And your favorite creator, they're probably not any more confident than you are. They just develop their nervous system capacity on a day-to-day basis, and bit by bit they grow their capacity to create more content and to express themselves more authentically and boldly online. You don't need a new shiny $2,000 or euro content strategy. You simply need to build your capacity to feel safe with the content creation process and expressing and voicing your opinions and your experiences online. And let me just tell you, none of us started here with high quality long form content. Not that I think that this is high quality, but I didn't start here. I started by filming one reel, and I had a script for it, and I filmed it bit by bit. So know that this is not something that you have to start with. You build it day by day. It's like a muscle. Now you're going to start going to the social media visibility gym, build it day by day for yourself. And the next time you're trying to patch up a survival response, now that you know what they are, with some fancy strategy or a template that you got from a coach, you're going to remind yourself that you're going to fix these things by creating safety in your body. And that's how you grow your social media and your online presence. Let me know if this was helpful for you, if you enjoyed this, and if you want a full video of my systems and my structures that I use to create content on a consistent basis. I would love to create that for you. Until then, I'll see you in the next video.